Hey there, I've never built a game in my life and I don't really know much about Unreal Engine at all. So I asked Claude Code to build a GTA 6 style game, and within only 2 hours it gave me this. We've got a world full of NPCs, there are vehicles somewhere. I think that's actually a vehicle coming up right now, but I just had to stop myself. So we've actually got Lucia in the game, we've got Jason, we can actually shoot, but at this point I just wanted to stop and show you how you can combine Claude Code and Unreal Engine to build your own games. Now again, I'm not a game developer or a game designer, but the fact that I could vibe code something like this within 2 hours is just mind-blowing to me. I can just imagine what this is going to do for the indie scene and what creative people can actually do with this technology. Alright, to get started, we do need to download Unreal Engine as well as a coding agent like Claude Code. For Unreal Engine, simply go to this website. I'll link to all of these websites in the description of this video. So just go to this page, download the launcher, and after installing the launcher, just make sure that you download the latest version of Unreal Engine. You need to be at least on version 5.8 for this to work. Then we need to install a coding agent like Claude Code. Now you can actually use other agents as well. So if you've got a ChatGPT subscription, you can definitely use Codex or OpenCode or whatever agent you prefer. Installing Claude Code is really simple. Simply copy this command for your operating system, whichever one you're using. So if you're on Mac or Linux or WSL on Windows, you can copy this command over here. Or on Windows, if you're using PowerShell or the command prompt, just copy the correct command for you and then run that command in the terminal. I already have several videos showing you how to set up Claude Code, so I am going to skip ahead with the step, but I'll link to those in the description as well. Now, since I've never used Unreal Engine, I actually don't even know where to start. So I'll link to this documentation in the description as well. And this is the official documentation from Unreal on how to use the MCP server within the Unreal Engine. So all I'm going to do is copy this URL. Then in ChatGPT or Claude, I'm just going to paste in that URL and say, hey there, I've never used Unreal Engine before. I'm trying to test out how to use Claude Code in Unreal Engine. Give me a simple step-by-step on setting everything up and using Claude Code in Unreal Engine. Right, Claude is saying we need to install Unreal Engine, which we've already done. Then we have to create a test project. So let's launch Unreal Engine. Alright, then let's create a new project. Then let's just select blank, and for the project name, I'll call this MCP test. I'm simply following Claude's instructions. I'm just going to change the project location to something that's a little bit easier to find. The next step is to enable the Unreal MCP plugin. Alright, cool. So it looks like something's going on. We've got a bit of a world here. Again, I've got no idea how to actually navigate this, but what we have to do is go to Edit. Let's go to Plugins, then we'll search for the Unreal MCP plugin. Let's enable this, and then we have to restart the editor. I guess then we have to turn on Auto Start. So for that we have to go to Edit, let's go to Editor Preferences, then let's go to Model Context Protocol. And I'm really sorry this is so small, I've got no way to actually change the size. But all we have to do is enable this checkbox over here to auto start the MCP server. Alright, so let's close these two. And now we have to bring up the terminal, which we can do by pressing tilde. And that seems to open this console command input box over here. And then all we have to do is copy this command. And by the way, they do support other coding agents as well. So if you don't want to use Claude Code, you can use Codex. You can just swap this out for whatever coding agent you're using. So I'll paste it into this field and let's press enter. So what that command does is if we go to our Unreal project folder, this created this .mcp.json file. And if we open this in Notepad or a code editor, it simply looks something like this. This is just pointing to the local MCP server that's now running in the project folder. Alright, so now that we've created this .mcp.json file, I'm actually just going to press Ctrl S to save this project. I'll just leave it as new map. Then I'm actually going to close out of Unreal Engine and just restart everything up again so that all the settings take effect. Alright, what we have to do then is in our project folder, let's open up our command prompt or terminal. Let's start Claude. We'll tell Claude to use the MCP server. Alright, so in Claude Code, what we can do now is actually change our model by running the /model command. And for this, I'll just go with the default model, which is Opus 4.8. Then we can also set the effort by running the effort command. And for this, I think let's just go with extra high effort. We can also check that the MCP server is set up correctly by running the /MCP command, and you should see the Unreal MCP with this little tick next to it, meaning that it has been authenticated and everything works. Right, now let's see if Claude can make any changes to this app. I'll just use my voice to dictate this. Hey there, I'm completely new to Unreal Engine. I just installed it and I set up this blank scene. Please can you make a meaningful edit to the scene so that we can check if you're able to use the MCP server? Alright, let's send this. Alright, so Claude is saying that it can find the MCP connection, but it doesn't have the correct tools to actually do anything with it. So I'm going to copy Claude's response and I'm going to pass it back to this chat session that we had earlier and say, hey there, I just tried to use Claude Code with our Unreal Engine project. I've set up the MCP server as per your instructions, but this is what Claude is saying. Right, so apparently we have to go to our plugins and we have to enable the Python editor script plugin as well as this Python Foundation packages plugin as well. Then we also have to search for this toolset registry. And we just have to make sure that this guy down here is actually active as well. Right, so I had a bit more of a back and forth with Claude to figure this out. And I think this is the missing piece, the editor toolset. So at the moment, the agent doesn't have any way to interact with the actors or the properties or the blueprints. So hopefully this will be the final step. Let's enable this. Let's restart Unreal Engine. Alright, then we'll just hit this little backtick again. Let's paste in this command to refresh the tools. Let's restart Claude Code. And hopefully this is going to work this time. And that already looks better. So this time it was able to find this tool over here, the scenes tool, which definitely didn't exist earlier. So I think if you're having issues with this as well, just keep asking Claude to just troubleshoot it on your behalf. And eventually you'll get there. Right, so it's saying that the current level is empty. I'll just add a cube and done. Now, I actually don't see the cube anywhere. So here's a little trick if you are using Claude Code. You can take a screenshot and share what you're seeing with the agent. So back in Claude Code, I can actually paste in that image using Alt and V. All right, I don't see the cube. Here's a screenshot of what I can see. How do I view the cube? Maybe what I can do as well is just to move Claude Code over to the side like this. In fact, I could probably just put them side by side. So let's just do this. Cool, much better. Alright, Claude is saying that it did add the cube, but the cube I think is tiny, and it's saying that my terrain is gigantic. So I'm not sure what Claude is trying to do, if it's trying to kind of zoom in or something. And it says it's going to scale up the cube, and that's it. The cube just appeared. Alright, so Claude is definitely interacting with the scene. I can see that cube right over there. I know Claude is still working on this, but what happens if I press play? Alright, we're in the scene, and there's our cube. Awesome. Alright, this is working. So let's see if we can build something really cool. First, I'm actually going to clear the conversation. Then let's switch to planning mode. So in planning mode, Claude won't make any changes to the scene. This is where we can kind of discuss the game and, the game mechanics and the design so that we can come up with a detailed plan before implementing anything. This is just going to ensure that we are on the same page as Claude and vice versa. So let's do something like this. Hey Claude, I'm tired of waiting for GTA 6. Please can you do some research into just some of the game mechanics, the character designs, the sort of visual design, the location, and then create a thin slice of GTA 6 in this game world. And let's send this. Claude is now using web search to go online and look up any resources. So it's looking up like Vice City, Lucia, Jason, and story details. This is way better than us trying to, give it a super detailed prompt ourselves. Let Claude do all of the hard work. Alright, so now the agent is actually doing two things. It's running a background agent to just do some research on the technical design and all of that. And now the main agent is also asking us clarifying questions. And this is why planning mode is so important, guys. How ambitious should this GTA 6 thin slice be? So let's do a full vertical slice. So apparently that means we'll have a getaway car, we'll have score markers, wanted levels, and we'll be able to switch between Lucia and Jason. and we'll have some kind of escape something. So if we reach the hideout zone, the mission is passed. For core, it's way simpler. This sounds very cool. Let's go with maximum ambition. What time of day and mood should Vice City environment have? This drives the lighting, sky, and neon look. So sunset neon, Miami night, or bright daytime. I'll go with sunset neon. Where should I build the slice? I'll just go with new dedicated level. Alright, so I'm actually going to interrupt Claude for a second. So I'm just going to press escape. And Claude will still remember everything we did up until now. This is just a way for us to give additional instructions. Please try to download and use free resources for like buildings and assets and characters if possible. So try not to build something like the human characters out of primitives if you can use an existing model. So again, I've got no idea how Unreal Engine works. So I just don't want the engine to build characters out of like squares and circles and, things like that, if it's able to download realistic looking characters instead. Alright, so it seems like the MCP can't import all of these assets automatically. So Claude is just saying that I could always just download the stuff myself. Now, I actually don't know what any of these options mean. So I'm going to go down to chat about this. And let's say, hey there, I'm actually happy to download the assets. If you can walk me through it step by step, please. So you mentioned there are templates for vehicles, for humans, for buildings. Please walk me through it. Preferably these all need to be free, please. Perfect, the hybrid path it is, and I'm happy to walk you through it. Everything below is 100% free. Your editor is already open. So a quick honest note. First, Epic ships built-in feature packs for the human and the car. So it's one click, no download, bundled with the engine. What we have to do is in the editor, open the content drawer. I guess it's this guy down here. Click on the green add button, add feature or content pack. We'll select third person and add to project. Right, so this just added as third person folder. So let's also do the vehicles. Let's click on add feature or content pack. Let's select vehicle and add to project. And cool, now we have vehicles as well. Alright, so I've downloaded a few assets and I told the agent just to go ahead and create the plan. So what Claude is going to do now is give us this super detailed plan. So if we scroll up, if we want, we can actually read through this, and this will tell us exactly what Claude is intending to do. So if we wanted to make any changes, we can definitely prompt Claude to, change something at this point. But honestly, I've got no idea what I'm doing. So I'm just going to tell Claude to go ahead and implement all of this. And I guess now we can just kind of sit back and watch Claude do its thing.
They keep on teasing with another fall delay. So I cracked my knuckles, said I build my own way. No more countdowns, no more lies, just a terminal and fire in my eyes. I'm building Vice City in the dead of night. Claude Code running on a real burning bright.
Right, so Claude has been added for quite some time, and I've actually started to play with this little pack as well. So if you go to Window and Fab, you can browse this whole library full of like accessories and objects and things. So what you can do as an example is to search for something like street, and then a lot of these things are paid for, but what you can do is go to compatibility and just kind of set the same version as what we are currently using. I've actually had the engine crash completely if I download an incompatible pack, And then under price, we can select only show free products. And then we can select something like this that contains like, a road texture, manholes, things like that. We can then click on add to project, and that will download this pack. And what I'm going to do then is simply ask Claude, please can you use this fab, and then I'll pass the name of the fab that we just downloaded. So throughout this whole build, I might actually just kind of keep downloading certain packs to help Claude out. For example, I noticed that the trees that Claude downloaded by default didn't really look very good. So I just went into Fab and I found these palm trees that have animations, they've actually got little coconuts and a lot more detail. So if you want, you can bring a lot more life out of the scene by maybe downloading buildings and benches and I don't know, maybe different cars or whatever. So I just wanted to share that little tip with you. Alright, so I am actually going to stop it here. When we jump into the game, we can see that my character's got this sort of greenish, bluish tint, and I think this pink character is supposed to be Lucia. Now, of course, this is not a complete clone yet, and Claude is still very much working away at this game. But in the interest of time, I think I'm going to stop it here, and I'll actually try to upload this game to my community. So if you do want to download it and try it yourself, you're more than welcome to do so. And also the song that played in the video, I'll upload it to the community as well. It's completely free to join and you can access all of the resources there. So to finish this up, I'm actually going to enter the keyword ultra code. Then I'm going to say use a workflow to wrap up this game. At the moment, you've got a very simple GTA clone with a basic map and some of the functionality is not quite working, like vehicles are missing and we don't yet have guns, we don't have sound effects, NPCs don't have proper AI yet, there's missing physics. And what will happen is when we send this prompt, Claude Code is going to go into ultra code mode. So it's going to create a workflow, it's going to kick off very intelligent agents that's going to wrap up this game for us. Now, just my final thoughts on this. Yes, it took quite a long time for the agent to complete this work, but the MCP server is new, and chances are that Epic is going to refine this. They're going to find more optimal ways to maybe get multiple agents to work at the same time to work on the scene. At the moment, it feels like it's very synchronous. In other words, you can only make one edit to the level at a given time, where it might have been better if we could do multiple work on the same scene at the same time, so that we can kick off a team of agents, each agent working on a separate change. I also enjoy indie games quite a lot, and I'm always impressed by the amount of work that a solo dev can do to build out their own games. Now, I don't think these tools are going to replace these developers, but it's going to make their lives way easier. So hopefully they can hand over any trivial tasks to the coding agent while they focus on the higher ticket items. And I'm excited to see where this technology is going to go next. If you enjoyed this video, hit the like button and subscribe to my channel for more agentic coding tutorials. I'll see you in the next one. Go and build something lekker.